Ladies and gentlemen, we have a crisis on our hands. This is a topic, this is a story that I've been covering for a while now, probably a couple months. And we're getting some new updates here. We're getting some comments, we're getting some input from the actual boots on the ground. And I wanted to share with you some comments that I pulled from YouTube. And it was actually, I was watching Patrick Humphrey yesterday, and this is a topic that I've been covering for a while. And I noticed that he touched on it as well with a video titled "They Are Shutting the Whole Thing Down," implying in relationship to the railroad, BNSF, Norfolk Southern, CSX, multiple railroad companies. We're actually looking at, I think it's like 12 different railroad workers unions and railroad companies that are going to be affected by this. And this is just shocking to see. So I'm just going to jump right into it because I want to share this information with you guys and discuss what this actually means for us as we approach the deadline for their cooling off period, as negotiations for contracts don't seem to be progressing in a way that's leading towards an amicable and agreed upon resolution between the railroad workers and the railroad companies, which ultimately means that we could potentially see strikes. I brought you guys a video of a rail crew express transportation driver, and he stated that he's already seen the strike signs printed and being handed out and delivered to the BNSF railroad workers, anticipating for a strike. But I want to read this comment to you. It says that I'm a class 1 railroad worker. The guys that work out of town or on the road on the trains don't have assigned or regular days off. The company I work for overnight last February changed their attendance policy overnight. Essentially, our time off has been cut in half. It's one of the straws that broke the camel's back, and nobody wants to work here, and they're all leaving in droves. The money isn't what it used to be, and it's not worth our health. Most of us work holidays and weekends, or we can get in trouble. And this is part of the railroad. This was a PSR. And ultimately, it kind of made life on the railroad like unbearable. And, not having the ability to have time off without getting in trouble is just ridiculous. And for them to change the attendance policy overnight and cut their time off in half, it's almost like they're begging and asking and provoking and pushing for a railroad workers union strike to occur, which I believe is September 16th would be the deadline before they can actually stop working legally according to their contracts. It also says that, and this is in response to this comment, used to work on a tie gang. And a tie gang is, in case you guys aren't aware, a tie gang is a part of the General Railroad track maintenance crew. So he's, the railroad tracks, they sit on railroad ties. So tie gang is kind of where that came from. And it says, people have no clue how hard guys get run by the railroads. People don't understand it's not what it used to be. And previous videos that I've posted about the railroad workers and the complaints that they have and what they're pushing for and renegotiations of their contracts that they haven't seen touched in several years is people would comment and say, wow, they get paid a lot of money as it is. They should just be happy. They should be okay with that. They should be fine with it. Now, it's not just about the money. It's not just about the money. It's about the quality of life. It is about working conditions. It's about getting overworked. Sure, you made a lot of money. Sure, you made a lot of money for a job that you signed up for, only to find out that, shortly thereafter, they're doubling your workload and not doubling your pay. So, but there's more to it than that. But what is most important here is the simple fact of how bad this is going to be for our economy, how bad it's going to be for our supply chain, how bad it's going to be for pretty much everybody if these folks decide to strike. Railroad workers, another comment here. Railroad workers are essential and treated like garbage. Even the money is not worth it at some point if you don't get time off. Do we live to work or work to live? Got to have a balance. Absolutely. And unfortunately, right now, a lot of folks are working to live. And at that, they're working to live a low quality of life at and or below the poverty line, barely getting by, just trying to make ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck. And ultimately, most Many folks are out there one paycheck away from being homeless, which is just unbelievable, just ridiculous. While we're seeing record high inflation, higher food prices, you know, Thanksgiving's coming up, Christmas is coming up, holidays are coming up. Prices are going to go through the roof on essentials. The wants and the luxuries and the splurges and things like that, they're probably not going to see much of an increase because folks don't quite have the disposable income to devote to that this year. Probably not going to happen. There's uncertainty in the job market. There's uncertainty in the housing market. There's uncertainty in the banking market. I saw the other day on an I allegedly video, Dan was talking about how the banks are not releasing the deeds to properties where mortgages have been paid in full. Now, this is just the beginning. This is the tip of the iceberg, but these are things that we need to be considerate of and paying attention to. And then you got to think, if this railroad strike were to occur, the holiday season, transportation of these products that need to hit the shelves for Black Friday and these sales and get these companies' revenues up, companies like Walmart and Target and Best Buy, and you could even see this impact affect Amazon. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of folks here that are going to feel this pain if these workers go on strike. Got another comment here. It says at Freedom Seeds, is this the meaning of getting railroaded? And this is kind of like a joke about the railroad workers getting railroaded. Another response here says that they suspect so. And this is unfortunate that this is the case. But another comment here says, my car's been in shop for 14 weeks now and waiting on 2 sensors. Suppliers say that they are 18 to 20 weeks behind on orders because they can't get enough people to work. We haven't seen anything bad yet. And so basically, a lot of these parts, a lot of these things that people are waiting on are on railroad cars. They're on the trains. They're getting backed up. They can't get where they need to go. And this is just putting a strain on us as it is with the limited workforce of the railroad workers. Basically, the crews are cut in half, given double the work. So it's like quadrupled pressure, quadruple workload, longer trains, and just the workforce isn't there to manage the freight, unload the trains, get them on trucks, get the trucks out, get the trucks to ports, back and forth from the ports, distribution centers, to the warehouses, to the companies, to the Walmarts, to the Targets, to the Costcos, to the Sam's Clubs, to everybody who's waiting on, these manufacturers, AutoZone, Pet Boys, parts distributors. Everybody is affected by this. And it says, fellow class 1 guy here, Carmen, and it's a very hard job. They beat us into the ground for years on end, then leave us high and dry. Most of us are working 16 hours a day, 5 days a week. Now, this is just unbelievable. This is ridiculous. I can't believe this is going on. Meanwhile, these companies, Warren Buffett should be ashamed of himself for Berkshire Hathaway's BNSF, the way that they're treating these railroad workers, these employees that are allowing these companies the opportunity and ability to make record profits, 50% gross margin profits, while just driving these guys into the ground, into the dirt, running over them, so to speak, railroaded, so to speak, while their customers, the shippers, are filing complaints and voicing their concerns and their gripes, and leaving bad reviews for these companies for the fact that they're not getting the service that they're paying a premium for. But this is very important. This is something that we need to be cognizant of and aware of, that is going on. And if this were to lead to a strike come September 16th, depending on how long that would last, depending on if Congress will step in and cancel this and make sure it doesn't happen, or if they're going to release the National Guard or the Army or any armed forces to kind of like force these workers back to work, or whatever they plan to do. Who knows what they're planning. This is terrible. I mean, I don't even understand how President Biden can allow this to go on while he knows that this is a huge pain point and a possible, just like, this is the domino. This is the first domino that you push over to just watch this economy collapse right now, today. I can't believe it. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to keep bringing you guys updates on this if we get any future information. Hopefully between now and the 16th we get word that there's been some negotiations and some mediation, and both sides have agreed to new contract terms, and this is going to be a moot point. But until then, we need to be aware, we need to be prepared, we need to be paying attention, and I'll bring you guys another update real soon. You guys take care. Be safe. Bye.